Hi students, hope you all are doing good. We will continue with the problem solving of this chapter, electric potential and capacitance. Okay, last class if you remember something very important I have explained, that if you have a conductor with charge Q and then you put a conducting shell here, conducting shell, then how will the charge distribute? I told this Q will induce here minus Q charge in the inner surface, and already we know the reason, right? If you draw a Gaussian surface through this material, right, this shell will have some thickness, no? So through the thickness, in the middle of the thickness, in the middle of this material, if you draw a Gaussian surface, then you know flux through the Gaussian surface should be zero, because electric field everywhere inside the conductor should be zero. If electric field is zero, flux also should be zero. So if net flux through this closed surface is 0, then total charge inside should be also 0. Total charge when it will be 0? If this is Q, then this should be minus Q. But this is neutral initially. So if this is minus Q, here this should be plus Q. Because initially it was neutral, right? Same thing if I say this one has charge Q and outer shell is given charge Q dash. Q dash is given to this. Then how will the charge distribute? If this is Q, inner one will be minus Q. So outer will be plus Q, and since you have given Q dash, this is how the charge will distribute. Okay, so this was for neutral shell. This is for a charged shell. Charged by how much amount? Q dash. Okay students, so the total charge of this should be still Q dash because it is isolated. For isolated conductor, we have discussed many times, for isolated any system, for isolated system, the total charge should be conserved. So if you have given Q dash charge to this sphere, then afterwards also it should be Q dash only. But since inner sphere has Q charge, it will induce equal minus Q charge in the inner surface. Here. So if it is minus Q, then to keep the total charge Q dash, outer surface should have how much charge? Q dash plus Q. So the total will be Q dash. Here this was neutral. This was neutral when I put it around this charge, but here it was already charged by Q dash amount. Okay. So already Q dash charge was given to this. So I hope you can see the difference between these two. So this we discussed yesterday, and then we also know that for a conducting shell, if the charge is Q, then outside, if I want to know potential here outside, then it is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q divided by R. What is R? From center of the shell to the observation point. Observation point means that point where we want potential. Okay, today we will do some problems based on this formula. So I want to revise it for you. But if I want inside, then if you remember inside at any distance R dash, let's say, it doesn't matter. Okay, whether it is R dash or R double dash, it doesn't matter. As long as it is inside at any point, potential will be constant and it will be same as on the surface. Why is that so? Because electric field is zero inside. So if electric field is zero, potential everywhere inside should be constant and it should be same as on the surface. And on the surface, what is the potential? This is the potential at a distance small r from the center. So on the surface, if I ask, it will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q divided by, if this point was on the surface, your small r will become the radius. So if I say the radius of the shell is capital R, then you have to write capital R. So potential everywhere inside will be constant and it will be this much, which is potential on the surface. This is nothing but potential on the surface. So please students try to remember it. Potential inside a conducting shell, potential inside a shell is constant and it is same as on the surface. And on the surface what you have to do? Capital R you have to write, not small r. Capital R represents the radius of the shell and small r represents distance of the center of the shell from the point where you want potential. But this is the formula outside. Inside, everywhere it is constant. Okay students, so based on this concept, let me solve some problems which will be useful for entrance exams. Okay, next week you will be having GTE. So I hope you all are preparing hard for the entrance exams also. Okay, so look carefully now. So first question you see, suppose I give you two shells, okay, and charge Q1 is given to this, charge Q2 is given to this, radius of this is A, radius of this is B. Okay, so I want question is potential at point A and B and C. Let me add one more point and D, let's say. So I want potential at points A, B, C and D. Okay students, where are these points? So let me mention the points. A is here, A is on the surface, B is here, okay, C is, let us say, here, somewhere here, and that distance I should give you. This distance is R, let's say RC, okay, and I want at a point D. This distance is, let's say, RD. A is at what distance? Small a from the center. Point B is at what distance from the center? B. This distance, right? This is nothing but radius of the bigger shell, right? Okay. So I want potential in terms of whatever I've given. So let us see carefully how to solve it. So look carefully. Now let us start with this point A. Okay, so at A. So who will produce potential? Charges will produce potential. Where is the charge? On this shell is Q1, on this shell is Q2. Correct now? So potential at A will be due to Q1 plus potential at A due to Q2. Now look carefully. Potential at A due to Q1. Where is A? On the surface. For this sphere, A is on the surface. So let us start with A, okay? So, okay, let me keep the diagram, no problem. So, but understand, first we are doing for where, which point? A point. So, here I want potential. For this sphere, where is this point? On the surface. So, what is the formula for potential on the surface? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, this charge divided by radius of this. Radius of this is how much? Small. So, this is the potential at this point due to this shell of charge. Now I want potential at A here due to which charge? Q2. Now look carefully. For this shell, where is this point? Again, let's understand the question. I want potential at A due to this charge. For this charge, which is where? On the outer shell. Where is this point A? Right now my observation point is A. Remember, I want potential at A first. So this point is inside. You can see it is inside this shell. And inside the shell, what I told, potential is constant and it will be same as on its surface. So potential here will be same as on the surface of this shell, because this point is inside this shell. So how much it will be? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q2, because I want due to this charge, divided by radius of this. What is the radius of this? B I have mentioned, right? So think whether you have understood this or not. So to again understand this, the simple fact is this. If you want potential inside a shell, then potential inside at any point, if it is inside, then it will be constant and it will be same as on the surface of the shell due to which you want the potential. Now here they have given you two shells. First shell has charge Q1, second shell has charge Q2. And the first point where I want potential is, forget about these other points, let me rub it. If I rub, no, the confusion will be less. So basically this is my two charged shells, and whenever you want potential you have to mention the observation point. So the first point where I want is here I took. Okay, so potential here due to superposition principle will be potential due to this charge plus potential due to this charge. Now for this charge, where is this point? On the surface. And on the surface, what is the potential? If I have a charge Q, then on the surface, what was the formula for potential? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R. This is potential due to this Q charge on the surface. And if I want inside, it will be same as on the surface, right? Already I have explained. So at point A, potential due to this charge will be same as on the surface, because this point is where? On the surface of this. So it will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught charge of this divided by radius. Then I want potential at A due to this charge also, because both the charges are present. Now for this charge, where is this point? Inside, right? And inside, what is the potential due to a shell? Constant. How much? It will be same as on its surface. So whatever is the potential on the surface of this shell, same will be inside the shell also. So at that point A, potential due to this charge will be same as on the surface. So on the surface means you write the radius of that shell due to which you want the potential. So don't get confused. This is due to this shell and this is due to this shell at which point A. So this is the answer. Then you can take common and write Q1 by A plus Q2 by B. Okay, students. Now point B. Where is point B? Okay, I don't actually remember very nicely. So let us say point B is here. So let me ask potential at this point now. Okay, so who will produce potential at B? Charges will produce. Which are the two charges? Q1 and Q2. So potential at B will be potential at B due to Q1, potential at B due to Q2. Now look carefully, all of you. For this sphere, where is this point? Outside. Yes or no? For this sphere, this point B, which is observation point now, this point is outside. And outside, what is the formula due to a shell? Outside 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by small r we write. What is small r? This distance. Correct now? Outside, this is the formula for potential. Outside. Okay, students? So since this point is outside this shell, potential at this point will be same as potential outside. So outside, what is the formula? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught charge of this sphere, because I want due to that charge, divided by distance between the center of that charge or the center of that shell to the observation point. This distance I have to write, right? This distance I have to write. That will be your small r. Correct now? But that distance will be nothing but B only. So I can write B here. Then potential I have to find at this point due to which charge? Q2. Now for Q2, for this charge, where is this point? On the surface. Then directly use the formula for potential on the surface, which is how much? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught charge divided by radius of the shell due to which you want the potential. Is it clear? So this is how you can find potential at this point and this point. Okay. Now let us see at C, some other point. Potential at C. Okay. So let us say point C. Forget this now. So now my point C is somewhere here, let us say. And let's say this distance is RC. Then what will be now potential at C? Now look carefully. For this charge, where is this point? Outside. So for outside, this is the formula where small r represents from the center to the observation point. So charge is Q1 and from center to observation point is RC. So RC. So the radius will not come this time. And for this shell, where is this point? Outside only. So since it is outside, potential will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q2, this shell, and distance will be from center of this shell to the observation point, which is again RC. So see how different formulas are coming, depending on which point they ask in exam. Then let us ask at now point D. Okay, so point D, let me say, is inside here. So let's say point D is somewhere here at a distance RD. Now tell me, try the solution yourself for this. Now look here, for this charge, where is this point? Inside. And inside the shell, potential will be same as on the surface. So same as on the surface means same as at this point, which will be how much? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 divided by A, remember. So don't write by mistake RD. Okay, that formula is only when the point is outside. When it is inside, students, again and again I'm telling, when you want potential at a point inside the shell, then the potential inside the shell will be same as on its surface. So on its surface, if I say what would be the potential, we have to use 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, the charge, divided by the radius of the shell. So this is A. Similarly, where is this point for this charge? That is also inside. So same formula, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, this charge divided by radius of this shell, because potential due to this at this point will be same as on its surface. So on its surface means what is the radius? B. Okay, so try to understand all these small things which I have done today. Okay. Now some of you may be thinking, sir, why you did not consider the distribution of charge? Like, for example, let me explain. Suppose I take these shells and I told Q1 charge is given to this, Q2 charge is given to this, right? This is radius A, this is radius B. Then actually how the charges will distribute on the inner surface and outer surface? If this one has charge Q1, then inner surface should have minus Q1, I told. So outer surface will have plus Q2 plus Q1. Correct now? So now look carefully. Even if you consider the distribution and now if you calculate the potential, so now you may have to write like this: potential at C will be potential at C due to Q1 plus potential at C. Let's say where was the C point? Somewhere here, right? Okay. So this was a D point actually. This was D. So make it D, okay? Before this was at D. So take any point, doesn't matter. Let's say this point D. Then this is at a distance RD. Now potential at C, if you consider the distribution of charge, then potential at any point will be, now if you want to write properly, it will be due to Q1 plus potential at D or any other point that is your wish, due to this minus Q1 plus potential at D due to this Q2 plus this Q1. Okay, but look carefully. Okay, this part is slightly outside. Yeah. So now I have, what I have done, see, same thing, I have done the distribution of charge first. So if you have Q1 here, inner surface will have minus Q1, outer surface will have plus Q1. But no matter which point you choose, either here or here or here or inside, when you will write these formulas, potential due to minus Q1, this minus Q1 will be how much? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught minus Q1 divided by radius of this. Because for this minus Q1 also, where is this point? Inside. So it will be same as on the surface, which means radius of this surface we have to write. Then when you will calculate potential due to this plus Q1, again you will get 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught plus Q1 divided by B. So when you add, these two will cancel. Understanding or not? These two will cancel. So this is the potential due to minus Q1. This is the potential due to plus Q1. And this plus Q2 will also produce, right? That is what I have written here. But this minus Q1 and this plus Q1, whatever potential they produce, that will cancel. Because this, if I say this radius is B, then this radius also will be B. No, if this is B, this is also B because this thickness is very small. Understood, students? So while calculating the potential at any point, I did not worry about the distribution of charge. Simply I told this was given charge Q1, this one was given charge Q2, and then I calculated potential due to this charge and this charge. Actually what happens is this charge will induce minus Q1 charge here, as I have explained. Then there will be plus Q1 outside, including the charge Q2 which it was already given. So now at any point potential will be due to this, will be due to this, will be due to this, will be due to this. But potential due to this plus Q1 will cancel the potential due to this minus Q1. Understood? Like I have explained here. That's why there's no point writing this way. You can simply write potential at any point will be due to Q1 and due to Q2, like that, which I have done here also. Okay, so that's why I did not consider the distribution of charge. But sometimes it will become important for you to consider the distribution of charge. Okay, so let me give you one example that some cases you have to consider the distribution of charge also. So look carefully here. Next question you see. Suppose I give you a conductor, a hollow conductor. This is a shell, conducting shell. And here I put a conductor which has charge plus Q. And this is, though it is a shell, the thickness is quite large. Okay, so this is A and this is B. And this is your conductor. This is conductor. And this is neutral. No charge is given to this. Okay, so suppose I want potential at some point, let us say here. Let's say I want potential here. I will show for this, for other points you try. Okay, so what is the potential here, suppose I ask? Okay, understood the question? Here I have put a small conductor, solid conductor, small one, or you can think point charge plus Q. Then outside this plus Q there is this conducting shell, but the thickness is quite large. So this inner radius of this is A, outer radius is B. So I want potential at this point. You cannot calculate potential here directly due to only this charge, because this plus Q will induce in the inner surface how much charge? Minus Q. Correct now? Already we know, right? So this plus Q will induce minus Q here, and therefore since it was neutral, outside there has to be how much charge? Plus Q, because it was neutral, so total charge has to be 0 even now. So now look carefully. Potential at A will be, directly I will write, okay? So potential at A will be first due to this charge, right? So it will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught charge divided by, from this charge to this point, that is nothing but your B. So B. So this is due to charge plus Q at center. At center means here. Okay. Now this minus Q will also produce potential. Now look carefully. For this minus Q charge, which is on the inner surface, where is this point? Outside. So for outside, what is the formula? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Charge of this is minus Q divided by, for this, since this point is outside, you have to use the formula for outside. And for outside, what is the formula for potential? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R, small r. And what is small r? From center of the shell to the observation point. So for this shell, from center to this point is B only, right? So it will be B. Then plus, who else will produce? This charge will produce. And that charge will be how much potential? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. This charge is how much? Q divided by, now look carefully, all of you. This point is where? For this shell. For this charge, this point is on the surface. So it will be same as formula for surface. And on surface, what is the formula? 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q divided by capital R I write, which is nothing but radius of the shell. So for this charge, which is, if you look at this charge separately, then it is just a shell, no? If you look only this plus Q charge. So due to this, what is the potential at A? It will be same as on its surface. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by radius of this. Radius of this is how much? B. So you can see this and this will cancel, right? Okay, did I do some mistake? No, it is correct only, right? So the answer will be q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught B. So that is the potential at A. These two got cancelled because I wanted potential at this point. So for this charge, this point is outside. And for outside, you have to use distance between the center to the observation point. So center to observation point is B. Similarly, for this charge also, where is this point? Outside only. So formula will be same, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, but charge is minus q, and from center to observation point. Okay, so these two gets cancelled. So this is the answer. Let us ask at some point B here. Okay, so that will be interesting to check. So this you have understood, I hope. Please make a note. So let us ask potential at B. Where is B? Be careful, huh? B is inside. Let us say this distance is plus q and this distance is c, let's say. So c is distance between the point charge and the observation point B. So at B, suppose I want potential. Then who will produce potential at B? This charge, this shell of charge, and this shell of charge, right? Separately if I see. And who allows that? That is allowed by superposition principle. Whenever you want potential due to multiple charges, you have to find due to each charge, and then you can use algebraic addition. Okay, so look here, potential at B due to this charge. Now for this charge, where is this point? Outside. So formula will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by from center to observation point is C. Okay, now this point is where for this charge? For this charge, this point is inside. So if you look separately, it will be like minus q here. This radius is A and B is here. No, so I want potential here. Already we have discussed this kind of question. Potential here will be same as on the surface. And on the surface, what will be potential? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught minus q divided by radius of that shell, which is nothing but B. Sorry, A. Because first I am asking due to this charge. So it will be radius of this shell is A. Similarly, this charge will also produce potential. So for that charge, if I draw here, so outer side is plus q and B is inside here. And this radius is B. So if I want potential inside, then since it is inside, it will be same as on the surface. And on the surface, what will be the potential? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught charge divided by radius of that shell. What is the radius of this shell? It is B, na? So it will be B. Now you can see, students, none of them will cancel. Right? So this will be the answer. If I take common, q by 4 pi epsilon naught, you will get 1 by C minus 1 by E plus 1 by B. So like that, students, you can find at different points, and that is how potential will change. So I hope you have learned how to find potential due to concentric charged shells. Okay, practice some more problems, make your own question, and then check this. No, put your own charges, take your own observation point, and try to solve it. And then you can take a picture and send to me through WhatsApp to see if it is correct or not. Okay, let us now discuss some problems which are based on something called drops. Let me call it just drops. So why I'm calling it drops is because the question is something like this. I have n drops, okay, each having potential V, each having potential V. So this is also V, this is also V, potential on the surface. Okay, once I say potential of a drop or potential of a conductor, then it means on the surface. So n drops are there, each having potential V. Then I am saying, then we combine the drops, okay, then you will get a big drop. So question is, what is potential of big drop? Once you combine, what will be the potential? So that is the question. So I hope all question is clear. Let us see the answer now. Solution you check. Now since each one has some potential, it means on the surface there should be some charge, right? And let's say the radius of the smaller ones are small r. So this is small r, okay, identical drops, okay, n identical drops. So what will be the potential of small drop? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Charge on the small drop is, let us say, small q, divided by radius of the small drop. Radius of the small drop, let me write small r. Okay students, so this is the potential of the small drop. Now when you combine these drops to form a big drop, the radius will be obviously bigger, capital R, let us write. But the charge will be how much? Charges will obey additivity rule. Remember that first few classes. So if q1 q2 is given to a system, total charge should be q1 plus q2. So each one of them has same potential, right? So each one of them has same potential and same radius also, so charge also should be same. So each one of them will have same charge, so the total charge on this big drop will be nq. So potential of the big drop will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught nq divided by radius of the big drop, and this was given as V in the question, right? Potential of the small drop is not visible, right? Potential of the smaller drops were given as V. So now in order to write this potential in terms of the given V, I need to relate this capital R with this small r. Once I relate it, then it will be very easy. So I have to relate the bigger radius with the smaller radius. How will I do that? Well, one thing is conserved, and that is mass. If you bring small drops together, you get a big drop, but the mass of the big drop should be same as the total mass of the small drops. Yes or no? And since the drops are identical, if each one of them is water, this is also water, so density will be same. So total mass should be same, right? Total mass should be same. So mass of this should be same as total mass of this drops. So mass should be same. Density is also same because it is same material. That means volume should be same. Volume should be same. That means volume of big drop must be n times volume of small drops. Volume, okay, not radius. Since mass is conserved, matlab if you combine 1 kg with 1 kg, whatever you get should be 2 kg. So if you combine the drops to form a big drop, the total mass of this should be same as total mass of this, which are how many drops I took? N drops. Now if mass is same, density is same, volume also should be same, right? So volume of the big drop should be n times volume of the small drop. Now what is formula for volume of a big drop? 4 by 3 pi radius of the big drop cube. This formula you know for volume of a sphere, and this will be n times volume of the small drop, 4 by 3 pi small r cube. So 4 by 3 pi, 4 by 3 pi you can cancel. So r will be equals to n power 1 by 3 small r, right? So this is the relation between capital R and small r. So if you now substitute this relation which you found between the radius of the big drop and radius of the small drop, what will be the potential of the big drop now? So I can write potential of the big drop is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught nq by radius of the big drop. How I can write? N power 1 by 3 into radius of the small drop. Right students? Now when this n power 1 by 3 will go up, what will you get? N power here 1 is there, then this will go up minus 1 by 3. So this will be n power 2 by 3. Correct now? Okay, so the potential of the big drop will be n power 2 by 3 into what is left? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught small q by small r. Now look carefully. What is this? This is potential of the small drop. So potential of the big drop will be n power 2 by 3 into potential of the small drop. And potential of the small drop was given V. Understood, students? So if you know the number of drops, then easily you can find potential of the big drop in terms of potential of the small drop. Okay. So if in example n is, let's say, 8, suppose 8 drops I come back, then what will be the potential of the big drop? 8 power 2 by 3. So 8 power 2 by 3 I can write 1 by 3 power 2 also. So 8 power 1 by 3 means cube root of 8. Cube root of 8 is 2. 2 square will be 4. Or they can give you 64. Right? 64 if they give, then you have to write this as 64 power 1 by 3. Power 2. Because it is n power 2 by 3. So 64 power 1 by 3. Cube root of 64 is 4. 4 into 4 is 16. 16 into 4 is 64. So that way, students, you can easily now solve this kind of problems if I ask you in your exams. Okay, entrance exams. Okay, let us solve now entrance corner. Okay, questions. But again, I think to solve the entrance corner questions, we need to discuss another concept. Okay, which is again only for your entrance exams. So this is called distribution of charge. So look carefully. Very interesting topic it is. Distribution of charge on parallel metal plates. Parallel metal plates. So already we have learned distribution of charge in what kind of system we have done? Spheres, concentric shells or concentric spheres. We have learned how to distribute the charges, right? Let us do for two parallel metal plates. So look carefully. So concept is like this. Suppose this one plate is there and I have another plate. Every plate will have some thickness, remember. So here I give a charge Q1 and here I give a charge Q2. Question is, find the charge on the inner and outer faces of the two plates. Suppose I ask this question. Now for this, try to understand one thing again. If you have two plates, if charge here is Q, charge here must be minus Q. Must be. Like in the case of concentric spheres, I used to tell you, if charge here is Q and you put a metal sphere, then inner face must be minus Q. This and this should be always equal and opposite. Outside, I don't care whatever charge can be there. Okay, that depends on whether you have put some additional charge or not. If you don't put any additional charge, then if it is minus Q, outside will be plus Q. Because this should be neutral, na? So look carefully now. Here also, if this inner face has Q charge, then the inner face of the other plate should have opposite charge. Now the reason for that is again very simple. Since these are plates, electric field lines will be like this only. We already know for the plates, right? For uniform big plates, we know that electric field lines are like this. So if I draw a Gaussian surface like this, look carefully. This is my Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface. Closed surface. Okay, so think of some cube. Now you know that through this part of the surface, there is no flux because the lines are parallel to the surface. So if lines are parallel to the surface, area vector will be perpendicular to the electric field. So if electric field lines are parallel to the surface, area vector will be perpendicular to electric field. So in flux, what formula is there? EA cos theta. So theta will be 90. So flux will be 0. So here there will be no flux, here also there will be no flux. Now these two lines I have taken where? I have taken inside the body of the conductor, inside the material of the conductor, where you know electric field is 0. Understood or not? So this part there will be no total flux. Why? Because here there is no flux, here there is no flux. This surface and this surface are inside the material of a conductor where electric field is 0, and if electric field is 0, flux also will be 0. This is the formula for flux. Yes or no, students? If E is 0, flux will be 0. So total flux through this closed surface must be 0. That means charge inside must be 0. That means if one side has plus q charge, other side must have minus q charge. Compulsory. Okay, students? So keep that in mind, that inner faces will always have equal and opposite charge. So how to solve this? So inner faces of the two plates will have equal and opposite sign charge. Okay, so once you understand this, let us see how the distribution will be now. Okay, so I hope you have written down the question. So now let us see how the charges will distribute. So look carefully. This is the one plate, this is the number 2 plate. These are large plates. Okay, now here if I say the charge is x, then here how much charge it should be there, because you have given how much charge, q1, and you know this is isolated, this is isolated, they are not connected to anything. You have just given them some charge and then it is isolated. Once you have given the charge, then it is isolated, so their total charge should remain conserved. So if this is x, this must be how much, q1 minus x. Understood, no? Because total charge should be q1. Understood? Now just because of whatever I explained now here, if this is x, what should be the charge of this, minus x. Inner faces should have equal and opposite. Here how much charge was given, q2. This is also isolated, so total charge of this also should be q2. So if this is minus x, this will be how much, q2 plus x. Okay, so now to find the answer, the question was find the charge on the inner and outer faces. So to find this charge, this charge, this charge, this charge, what we need to find, x. Once we find the x, the job is done, right? Because the answer should be in terms of given quantities. Given quantities are q1 and q2. So now do carefully. Let us go back and remember, due to a thin sheet of charge. So if I give you a sheet of charge, what was the electric field here? Sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Remember, no? Sigma is the surface charge density. See, these are actually plates, okay? I may show you as lines, but these are actually plates. Okay, so actually they are like this. Like this. But from this side, if you see, you will see only this line and this line. So that two I have drawn here. Now this is electric field due to a sheet of charge, which we know already, so keep that in mind. And for positive, how you draw? Away. For negative, you draw towards. And does the distance from the plate matters? No, it doesn't matter, because as long as you assume the plates are very large, you can use this formula which we derived for infinite sheet of charge. So look carefully. What I will do, let me take a point here, A. You can take here also, your wish. P, let me call it P. Now P I have taken where? P is inside the body of the conductor, inside the material of the metal, this inside. So electric field whatever will be there must be 0. Understood? Now let us calculate the electric field here due to these charges. Okay, so this sheet of charge, let us call this the first sheet, this one second sheet, third sheet of charge, fourth sheet of charge. Okay, so let me write this point separately here, P here. Now tell me quickly, okay, electric field here due to this sheet, this is positive q. I am assuming x is smaller than q1. So if that is the case, then what will be the electric field due to this sheet? It will be away from this sheet, right? So this is E1. Due to E2, it is also positive, so it will be away. So E2 also will be away. So please understand, E1 is due to which sheet? E1 is due to this sheet. Okay, E2 is due to this sheet of charge. Now let us see due to E3, electric field due to this sheet. Now this sheet of charge is negative, so it will be towards the negative. So it will be like this. So that will be your E3. And this sheet of charge is positive, so electric field here, this is positive sheet, and electric field here I want to know P is on the left side of this sheet or not. This point P which I have chosen is on the left side of this sheet, this sheet, the fourth sheet. So since it is on the left side, electric field, since it is positive, it will be away from the positive, so it will be this side. So E4 will be this side. So these are the directions. Okay, so now let us just substitute the, so how will I add, since electric fields are vector quantity, how do you add electric fields? Since they are vector quantities, first we should write the magnitudes without writing the sign of the charge. Once we know the magnitude, then we should draw the directions. Then the directions will decide whether you should add or subtract, not the sign of the charge. Okay, so once you know the directions of electric field, you can see if you take these two positive, these two will be negative. So how will I write? E1 plus E2, these are all magnitudes. Okay, and this is minus and this is minus. So that should be equal to 0. Now let us know what is the electric field due to a sheet of charge. It is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Since I want only magnitude, I don't care about the sign of the charge. Now I know the charge. No, so what I will do, I will write this sigma as charge by area. Because you all know sigma is charge divided by area. It is surface charge density. It is surface charge density, right students? Okay. So E1 is electric field here due to this sheet away, due to this sheet away, due to this sheet towards, because this is the sheet, no? The third sheet is this one, right? And point is here, so it is negative sheet, so it will be towards. And the fourth sheet is here, fourth sheet. Point is here, so it will be positive, so it will be away from the positive. So it will be away from the positive here. Now let us calculate E1. E1 is due to this sheet. What is the charge? Formula is this. Okay, so Q1 minus X divided by 2 epsilon naught A plus E2. E2 is due to which sheet? The second sheet. So what is the charge? X by 2 epsilon naught A. Only write the magnitude of the charge. Okay, because directions we have found already. Okay, this is not potential. We are not calculating potential. We are calculating electric field. So be careful when you add electric fields. First find the magnitude without worrying about the negative sign, but then you have to draw the directions. In potential, we never draw direction. We just write the formula including the sign of the charge, and then we do algebraic addition in case of potential. But in case of electric field, we need to first draw the directions, write the magnitude, and then decide whether to add or subtract depending on the directions. Okay. Now E3 is electric field here due to third sheet. What is the charge? X. No, magnitude is X only, divided by 2 epsilon naught A minus E4. Due to this sheet, it will be Q2 plus X divided by 2 epsilon naught A equal to 0. Right, students? So now you can see these two will cancel. Then you can multiply both the sides by 2 epsilon naught A. 0 is there now, so you will get here Q1 minus X. This is minus sign is there, so it will be minus Q2 minus X equal to 0. So this will be Q1 minus Q2 minus 2X will be 0. So 2X will be Q1 will be minus Q2. Did I do correctly? Q1 minus X is correct here. Okay. Yeah, so 2X, so this is Q1 minus Q2 divided by nothing. Let me check once, okay? This E1 is due to this sheet of charge, right? So these two should have equal and opposite. Total is Q1, so this is Q1 minus X. So total should be Q1. If you add this charge and this charge, you should get Q1. Now you know this should be opposite of this. So this is minus X. Total is Q2, so this total also should be Q2, so it should be Q2 plus X. Then electric field here, due to this sheet is away, due to this sheet is away, negative sheet is towards, and due to this sheet it is again away. So E1 is due to this, I wrote the charge. E2 is due to this, it is positive, minus E3 is negative, and it is due to this charge. So minus Q2 minus X, Q1 minus X. So finally I will get 2X equals to Q1 minus Q2. No problem. So what is X equals to? Q1 minus Q2 divided by 2. So this is the X value we found. So now can you tell me what will be the answer? So let us rub this part. First you make a note, okay? At the end, no, I will tell you how to remember the result. What, because for entrance exam we need to know the result, right? So finally what I have come to know is, if I have two plates whom I have given charges Q1, Q2, then what will be the distribution of the charge? What will be the charge here? Q1 minus X, right? Let us calculate Q1 minus X. Q1 minus, how much X we got? Q1 minus Q2 divided by 2. So this will be Q1 minus Q1 by 2 plus Q2 by 2. Q1 minus Q1 by 2 will be Q1 by 2 plus Q2 by 2. So it will be Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. So this charge will be how much? The charge here will be Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. Here what will be the charge? Here we know it is X, and X we found. So it will be Q1 minus Q2 divided by 2. What will be the charge here? Charge here will be minus of this minus X, huh? Will be minus Q1 minus Q2 divided by 2. What will be charge here? Charge here is Q2 plus X. Let us calculate Q2 plus X. So Q2 plus X will be how much? Q2 plus X will be Q2 plus, what is X? Q1 minus Q2 divided by 2. So Q2 plus Q1 by 2 minus Q2 by 2. Q2 minus Q2 by 2 will be Q2 by 2 plus Q1 by 2, which is again Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. So here is Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. So this is something very, very important. Try to remember it, students. Okay. So what you need to remember is this. Inner faces of the parallel plates. Inner faces of the parallel plates will have always equal and opposite charge. And outer faces, the outer face of the first plate and outer face of the last plate. So that always will be total charge divided by 2. That is always true. So try to remember this. Okay. So suppose I give you 3 plates. We will not be doing it. Those who are interested in doing the derivation, you can do for 3 plates also. So imagine I have 3 plates like this. Here I give Q1 charge, Q2 charge, Q3 charge. After giving, the charges will redistribute. See, all this distribution of charge is happening to make the electric field inside 0, or you can say to keep the potential constant in the conductor. So that is the whole business of charges in a conductor. They move around, they arrange themselves in such a way that electric field inside should be 0. So if you see, the way I derived the whole formula was by taking some point inside the material and making the electric field 0, right? Okay. Now look carefully. Here the point is this. The outer faces will always have equal charge. So the outer face of the first plate and outer face of the last plate, that will have always equal charge, and the charge on these two will be total charge, whatever charge you give, divided by 2. So again, I will not do derivation for this, okay, but if you follow the line of reasoning which I have done, you can expect charge here and charge here will be this much. Inner ones no need to do, because you can easily find, once you know this, no, you can easily find here, easily. Let me explain to you with an example. So let us rub this now, okay. So try to remember this, students, very important. So if you have parallel plates, the charge total charge divided by 2 will be the charges on the outer faces of the first plate and the last plate. So let us do some example. Okay, so let's say I have given, let's start with 2 plates. Okay, I think it is one of the question in your entrance corner. So why don't we do that only? Exam corner, sorry, entrance corner 2.3, question number 3. 1 and 2 we will do, but since just now we discussed distribution of charge in parallel plates, let us do this question. Okay, listen carefully. Two metal plates are placed at some distance between them. Charges of 4 microcoulomb and 6 microcoulomb are given to the plates respectively. What is the charge in the outer faces of the two plates? So the rule was what I told. The charge here will be how much? Total charge divided by 2. So that will be 5 microcoulomb. So 5 microcoulomb here, and this will be automatically 5 microcoulomb. You will see now why. See, if this is 5 microcoulomb, here how much was given? 4. So if this is 5, this must be minus 1. Why this must be minus 1? Because total should be 4 only, na? This plate is isolated. Since it is isolated, it is obvious that you are understanding. If it is isolated, then the total charge should be conserved. So if I give 4 microcoulomb charge to this plate, and if it is isolated, it should remain 4 microcoulomb. So if this side, according to my derivation, this side should have 5 microcoulomb. Total charge divided by 2. Correct na? Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. Then if this is 5, but total should be 4 only, so this side must be minus 1. Then you know this side will be how much? Plus 1. Because inner faces should have equal and opposite, plus 1. And if this is plus 1, this is 6, then this must be plus 5. See, automatically this plus 5 will come. Okay, so let me give one extra question now. Suppose I give you 3 plates. All these are large plates because we have used the formula for E equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So for each sheet, we have used this formula, right? So it is important that you assume the plates are large because the formula was derived for infinite sheets. So look carefully. Suppose I give here 2 microcoulomb, 6 microcoulomb, and 10 microcoulomb. So you have to tell me the distribution of the charge. It is very, very easy, students, now. Okay, so what you do, first find charge on the outer face. The rule is simple. Total charge divided by 2. So total charge which is given is, shall we make it interesting by making it minus 6? Or you try that one. Take it minus 6 and try, okay? Because this is, see, total charge, you have to use additivity law. So you have to do algebraic addition when you add charges. So total charge will be how much? 2 plus 6 plus 10 divided by 2. So it will be 18 by 2 will be 9 microcoulomb. Right, students? So this will be 9 microcoulomb. I will not write, huh? You know. This will be 9. Now this is 2. So this must be 7. Sorry, this must be minus 11. How it can be 7? If it is 7, then 9 plus 7 will be 16. But I have given only 2 microcoulomb. So if this is 9, this, no, it cannot be minus 11 also. It will be minus 11 means total will be how much? Minus 2. So it will be minus 7. Now it is correct. So 9 minus 7. Total will be how much? 2. Now you know if this is minus 7, this will be how much? Plus 7. But this is 6. So this should be minus 1. Total should be 6 now. If this is minus 1, this will be plus 1. If this is plus 1, this is 10, this will be 9. See, automatically these two will be same. Okay, students. So these are all in microcoulomb now. Microcoulomb, 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 microcoulomb. So this is how the charges will distribute on the surfaces of the plates. Okay. Now try to do this problem at home and let me know the answer in the comment section. Suppose I give one plate Q1 charge and other plate minus Q1 charge. Then you tell me the distribution. Okay, students? Or let me tell Q and minus Q. Then you tell me the distribution. It is very easy. So you try yourself. Okay. Now, something very interesting we will be discussing, and that is the effect of something called grounding. So let me rub this part. So try that question. Effect of grounding. Okay. So grounding here means what? Suppose you have some, let me discuss it properly. Suppose you have a charged sphere and the charge is, let us say, capital Q. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to ground this. So grounding basically means connecting the metal sphere to the ground through a wire. Okay, conducting wire. The question usually asked is how much charge will flow to the ground. Okay, sometimes it may go this way, sometimes it may go this way, depending on the sign of the charge. So the point here is like this. Okay, whenever such problems are given, whenever they say grounding has been done, so understand this fact. The potential of ground is taken to be 0, same as at infinity. So at infinity we have taken potential 0. Na? Ground is also a reference where potential is taken to be 0. So again, very useful fact. Okay, again the reason for this will be more clear when I will do capacity. And again the point is like this, say ground is such a big, earth is such a big sphere. The biggest sphere is which sphere on near earth only, right? So you can give it any amount of charge, you can take any amount of charge, and the potential will remain constant. It is like sea level. You put one glass of water, you take one glass of water, the height of the water will remain almost same only, the level of the water. Similarly, ground is such a big sphere that giving some charge to the ground or taking some charge to the ground, I'm talking about normal charges which we do in these chapters, this electrostatics chapter. So when you give charges out or in or through your electrical appliance, sometimes some electrical faults happen and the charge will go to the ground. That time the amount of charge which goes or with whatever you take will be quite small, and ground is so big that you don't expect the potential of the ground to change by putting some charge into the ground or by taking some charge. Compare it with sea level. If you remember in yesterday's video also, I've spoken about height to be similar as what? Potential, and charge as similar as water. Remember, water flows from higher potential to lower potential. So charge flows from, sorry, water flows from higher height to lower height, and charge itself flows from, positive charge itself flows from higher potential to lower potential. I have discussed this yesterday. Now ground is so big like sea level. By taking some water out of sea level or by giving some water, the level you don't expect it to change. Same thing with ground. So since the potential of ground remains constant, whether you give some charge or you take some charge, it is always better to consider it as reference. Just like sea level is taken reference to measure height. So to measure potential of electrical circuits, it is, we take ground to be at 0 potential. So this is something I want all of you to remember. Okay, students? Fine. So once you have accepted that ground is taken to be at 0 volt. Now you see, before here, what was the potential here on the surface? On the surface, you know how to write 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by radius. Correct now? The moment you connect this to ground, it will become also a conductor. Connected to ground means this whole thing will be now one conductor. And if it is one conductor, what I told, potential, it has to be what kind of body? Equipotential body. Conductors are equipotential bodies. So every point in the conductor should be at same potential. Yesterday, very important points I have taught. So if this is 0 volt, this also should be at 0 volt the moment you connect to the wire. But what is the potential of this sphere? Already there was charge, so potential is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r. But after connecting to ground, potential of that sphere has to be 0. How can this be 0? The only way this can be 0 is if q is 0. Because r cannot be, if you cross multiply, r is a number. So number into 0 will be 0. That means the charge here should be 0, means where will the charge go? To the ground. How much charge will go? Total charge q will go to the ground. Okay, so this is something very interesting, right? So if you have a sphere whose charge is q, and you connect it to the ground, how much charge will flow to the ground? Whatever charge was there on the sphere. If it was minus q, then q charge should come this way. Q charge should come this way. Q charge. So that minus q can be made into 0. Understood, students? What I'm saying is, if it was minus q charge, and once you connect it to ground, it should have 0 potential. So charge on this should be 0. How it will be 0? If plus q will come this way. So when plus q will add with minus q, total charge will be 0. And one more thing, it is better to remember, is when I say q charge will go this way, electrons will actually flow this way. Because this is positive charge now. So if I say positive charge is coming this way, in this wire, the electrons are moving up. Similarly, if I say positive charge is going this way, it means electrons in the wire are going this way. This is the flow of electrons. Because sometimes the teacher may ask you in terms of electrons, then you can mention that. Okay, students, so let us now see another very interesting effect of grounding. So let us say I have two concentric spheres. Okay, and let's say the charge on this is q. Okay, and these are all metals. Okay, all are metal spheres or shells. And let's say I say this is grounded. Now again the question is how the charges will distribute and what will be the story now. So look carefully. Before, what I used to say, if this is q, this should be minus q no matter what. Inner surface will be minus q. So now outer surface will be how much? Now you cannot see, it has to be a plus q only, because now it is no longer isolated. When it was isolated, what I used to tell you, the total charge of this is conserved. So if you put q here, then you know that minus q will come, but total charge is 0, so it means it should remain 0 afterwards also. Meaning, if inner surface has minus q, outer surface should have plus q. But now, if I connect this to ground, then I cannot say like that. Okay, students? So then I cannot say like that. Now it is not compulsory that the charge of this is conserved. So now charge of the shell connected to ground is not conserved. Why? Because it is no longer isolated, students. It is connected to ground. What is conservation of charge? The total charge of an isolated system remains conserved. So I don't know how much charge will come. So let us say some q dash charge comes. Then if q dash charge comes, then by our previous knowledge, what do you know? If this is q, this should be minus q. Now q dash charge comes, so it should be q dash plus q. Correct, na? All of you understood this? So q dash charge is coming from the ground, and this is minus q. So q dash is there, and then this minus q and this plus q. Is it clear or not clear how this plus q is coming? Otherwise, see, if plus q I don't write, then how can I say q dash charge is coming? Because q dash minus q is not q dash, because whatever charge is coming, that should be the total charge on this shell. Understood? So but I know that if this is q, the inner one has to be minus q. I know that because of Gauss law. So total charge of this should be q dash, because I'm saying q dash is coming. So then I have to write here q dash plus q. Okay, students. Now, how to find q dash? Very simple. Whichever sphere is connected to ground, you know potential of that sphere has to be 0 because it is connected to ground. So let us say this radius is small r, this radius is capital R. Or you can write A, B, your wish. Let me write A, no problem. A here, B here. So let me take any point here, P. So potential at P has to be 0 because it is connected to ground. Now who will produce potential here? This charge, and this charge. But already I told you the potential of this charge will cancel the potential of this charge. Remember, no, already I have told you, because the radius of this is also B, radius of this is also B only. So let us not worry about these two while calculating potential. So what will be potential at P? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q divided by, look carefully, this point is where for this sphere? For this sphere, this point is outside. For outside, what is the formula? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught small q divided by small r. Small r is from where to where? From center to observation point. So from center to observation point is B. So this is the potential at P due to this charge. Now let us calculate due to this q dash charge which has come. So that will be how much? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Now for this q dash charge, where is this point? On the surface. So use the formula for surface. On surface, how we write? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q dash divided by, how do we write? Radius. Radius of this sphere is B. That should be equal to 0. Correct, students? Okay. So this means, take it that side, this and this will cancel, B and B will cancel. So q dash will be minus q. Oh, so the answer is the charge which comes should be minus q. So since the charge which comes q dash is minus q, it means you can say plus q charge will go this way, right? So therefore charge which flows to the sphere from ground, it came how much? Minus q. Q dash I have assumed now before, but after solving, how much I got? Q dash minus q. What was q? This charge. So that means same thing I can write charge, therefore charge flowing from sphere to ground is plus q, right? If minus q is going this way, I can say same thing is plus q is coming this way. Okay, students, so this is same thing. So instead of saying q dash charge is minus q is going from uh, ground to sphere, what we can say? Q charge plus q charge is coming from sphere to ground. So what did you learn from here? You learned that if a shell has charge q, and then on top of that you have q dash, sorry, if the upper one is grounded, then how much charge will come from the uh, charge flowing from sphere to ground? How much charge will go this way? Q charge will go this way. Okay, so that is very important, please remember that. So q dash is minus q means now you can tell me the distribution. This will be 0. So now can you tell me the distribution of the charge? Okay, please remember this once. Once you remember this, so tell me, before when I was solving problems of concentric shells, what I used to tell, if this is q, how will the spheres be, how will the charge be distributed? If this is isolated and it is neutral, then this q will induce minus q, outside will be plus q. This is what I told. Now what I did grounding. So because of grounding, what I told, this is q, this is minus q, this is q dash plus q, right? This is when it's grounded. And q dash came how much? Q dash came minus q after solving. So since q dash is equal to minus q, if you substitute this q dash here, what will be the final result? Q dash you put here. So this will be minus q plus q. So this will be 0. So this is how it will be distributed. So outer one will be 0, this will be minus q, this will be q. So basically what it means is the moment you ground, this plus q will flow to the ground. That's what I have to see. Charge flowing from sphere to ground. Understood, students? All of you? Okay. So charge flowing from, it was, see, before connecting to ground, this was the distribution. You remember, right? Now when you connect it to ground, what I found? I found this will be 0. So how it can be 0? So it was q, how it will be 0? The only way it can be 0 is that q charge has to go this way, whichever was there. And that is what I calculated. That is what I found. Sorry, that is what I found. Charge flowing from sphere to ground. We got charge flowing from sphere to, from ground to sphere. No? When I started the derivation, I did not know what is happening. So I just assumed from ground some charge q has come. But after solving, I found that the charge that has come to the from the ground to the sphere is minus q. Minus q coming means actually q charge is going. Understood or not? So if you are getting minus q charge, you can say q charge is going. So if you lose q positive charge, you will get negative charge. If you lose negative charge, you will get positive charge. So think that way. Okay. Now the last part, the last problem that I wanted to solve today is same type. Okay, same type. Suppose I have this spheres. Okay, and here I give charge q. Let me write here. This time I'll say I gave charge this q here, and this is grounded. Yeah. Okay, so q charge is given to this. This is grounded. So question is, how much charge flows to ground? Okay. So this time what I have done is the inner conductor has been grounded. So if it was not grounded, now look here, suppose it was not grounded, then look carefully. If it was not grounded, then what will be the charge of this? 0 only, because it is isolated. So it is 0, this will be minus 0. Minus 0 means 0 only. So outside will be q. So the whole charge will be here outside. This q which is given will be outside. But the moment you connect this to ground, no, things will change. Things will change. Why it has to change? Think carefully. If it remains the same, suppose it's remained like this, let us assume nothing, no charge came from the ground, let us assume no charge came from the ground, everything remained the same, let us assume, then there will be a problem. And the problem is, at this point this charge will produce some potential, yes or no? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by radius. Why? Because this point is where? Inside this shell. So since this point is inside this shell, point potential at every point inside is same as where I told on the surface. So potential here will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r. But you know potential of this has to be 0. So that's why this is not how the situation will be now. This is not how the situation will be. So let us assume some q charge or q dash charge has come. Let us assume. So if q dash charge has come, then this q dash will be here, will spread on the outer surface. Then you know this will be minus q dash, and therefore this will be q plus q dash. Right, students? Right? We have understood these things already before. So now take any point P here. Let us say this radius is A, this radius is B. Question is how much charge has come. They are asking how much charge flows to the ground. Let me calculate how much charge comes from the ground. If it comes positive, it means my direction is correct. If it comes negative, it means my direction should be opposite. That's it. Let us solve now. Now, this time, which point is connected to ground? The inner conductor. So if I take a point on the inner surface, potential at P must be 0 because it is grounded. Correct now? Okay. Now tell me, what is the potential here due to this charge? For this charge, where is this point? On the surface. For this charge, this point is on the surface. So use the formula for potential on the surface. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q dash divided by radius of this shell, I wrote A. Correct, students? Okay. Now tell me, I know that this minus q dash and this plus q dash, they are not useful while calculating the potential here, because those two will cancel. So potential here I will calculate only due to this q. Okay. So due to this q, what will be the potential? Think carefully. Where is this point? Inside the shell. Which shell? This shell. So potential here due to this will be same as on its surface. So it will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by on its surface means here. So what is the radius of this sphere? B. That should be 0. Take it that side. So q dash will be minus q a by b. Right? I got negative. Since I got negative, it means, therefore, question was how much charge flows to the ground. Therefore, the charge which flows to the ground is equal to qa by b. Because negative, I assume charge is coming this way, but I got negative answer. So that means this much charge is actually going this way. Understood, students? I hope you are not confused. If I say minus 10 micro, if I say 10 microcoulomb is coming, then this will be how much charge? Plus 10 microcoulomb. Correct, na? But suppose I say here minus 10 microcoulomb is going like this. Now minus 10 microcoulomb going this way means this will become plus 10 microcoulomb. Right? If you lose minus charge, you will become positive charge. So minus 10 going this way is same as plus 10 coming this way, right? Because if plus 10 come this way, the body will have charge plus 10. If minus 10 goes this way, even then the body will have plus 10. So 10 microcoulomb coming this way is same as minus 10 microcoulomb going this way, or minus 10 microcoulomb going this way is same as 10 microcoulomb coming this way. So I found q dash is negative, but I took q dash this way. That means this much charge is coming from ground to sphere, or this much charge is coming from sphere to ground. So the question was from sphere to the ground. So the charge which flows to the ground is this much. Okay. So please keep this in mind. So this is what happens when metal. Now this is not simple minus QC. So it depends on the size ratio of the spheres. Okay. So keep these things in mind. Practice once and think carefully once. Now that parallel plates we did, no. So one important note you write somewhere. Okay. If a system of charged parallel plates, if a system of charged parallel plates is there and any one plate is grounded, then the charge which flows to the ground, will be equal to total charge. If there are n plates, if a system of charged parallel plates, n plates, so the total charge which is given to the system, that much total charge will flow to the ground. Okay, like this is something very important. I will not give you detailed proof of this, but I will explain to you why it is true quickly. Okay, so keep this in mind, write down somewhere. So if you have a system of parallel plates which are charged, and if any one plate is grounded, then the total charge of the plates given to the plates will flow to the ground. So imagine, let us think of the previous situation. Like this system, two parallel plates. Here I give Q1 charge, here I give Q2 charge. Remember, right? Okay. How was the charge distributed? Here it was q1 plus q2 divided by 2. Here it was minus what it was plus minus q1 plus q2 divided by 2, right? Was it correct? No, it was q1 minus q2 divided by 2. Then here it was minus q1 minus q2 divided by 2, and here it was q1 plus q2 divided by 2. Right, students, this is how we have discussed. Now if you connect any one to ground, any plate to ground, then please understand one thing: outer face of the plates will have zero charge. If you connect any one of the plate to ground, outer face should have zero charge. Now the reason for this is very simple. Look here, if you connect this to ground, that means this point and this point will be at what potential? Same potential. Remember, 0 volt, 0 volt. So if there is no potential difference, this is very important, okay, very subtle point. You will hardly find this explanation in textbooks, so concentrate properly. If you connect any one plate to ground, then this point, this point, this point, this point, this is conductor, right? Earth is also conductor, will be equipotential. So outside there will be equipotential surface. So potential difference here and between any point here and ground potential will be same. If potential is same, potential difference will be what? Potential anywhere here and outside should be, potential should be same. So potential is same is what will be potential difference? Zero. If potential difference is zero, electric field should be zero outside. Now think of this, okay? Imagine here the plus charge and minus charge should be there, okay? So look here equal plus and minus. Suppose here plus is there and plus is there. The electric field you calculate outside. Due to this plus it will be away. Due to this plus it will be away. Due to this minus it will be towards. Due to this plus it will be away. So you can see total will be not zero now because 3 are away, 1 is towards. So how they can cancel each other. So let us say this is 0. There is no charge here. Then due to this away, due to this away, due to this away, due to minus towards. Even now it cannot be, electric field cannot be 0 because 2 are away, 1 is towards. So this also if it is 0, if this also if it is 0, then electric field due to this will not be there, due to this away, due to this towards, and then electric field outside can be 0. Understood now, students? This is one of the most beautiful explanation I have given. You will not find this in any textbook, I am telling you. So remember carefully. So what I am saying again and again, listen carefully. If you connect any one plate, this plate to ground, this plate to ground, I don't care. Outside electric field has to be 0. That means outside there cannot be any charges. So this cannot be there, this cannot be there. So where will they go? Well, they have to go to the ground. That is the only way they have to go. And through which plate they have to go? Through this plate only. So here the charge will go Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2 plus Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. And that will be equal to Q1 plus Q2. So the total charge given to the system will flow to the ground. Understood, students, or not? So this is something very important. I want all of you to remember this concept. This will stay there. This will be this one, this will be this one, that will be there. But if any one plate is connected to ground, then outer faces of the plates of the last plates, first and last plate, first and last plate, first and last, because you may be having 3 plates also. So the total, the charge here and here has to be 0. And for that to happen, what should happen? This charge and this charge should go through the ground. But through which plate it has to go? Through only this plate, right? Okay, finally let me give you one example of this. Okay, so suppose you have two plates, large plates, and I give this one charge 2 coulomb, this one charge, let's say, 3 coulomb. When I connect any plate to ground, this plate or that plate, it doesn't matter, then how much charge flows to the ground? I told total charge should flow to the ground, total charge given to the system. So 2 coulomb plus 3 coulomb will be 5 coulomb has to go to the system, to the ground. Now if 5 coulomb goes to the ground, this will have minus 5 coulomb, but 3 coulomb was given. So minus 5 coulomb plus 3 coulomb will be minus 2 coulomb, which will come and sit here. Here it will be 0, remember. Okay, and this minus 2, so this inner face should be plus 2, and 2 was given, so this will be plus 2, and here will be 0. So beautifully it comes, right? So try to understand this carefully and take some more examples and try to see. So students, we'll stop here for today. Hope to see you fresh next video. But students, please try to revise as much as possible. Try to revise, try to practice more and more problems. I want your marks to improve more in PTEs. Okay, thank you.